Angelika Schwaff. Thank you for the honor of joining you at the Institute of Cultural Diplomacy. And we're here in Berlin and would like to ask you some questions after your great keynote speech that we all enjoyed, I guess. And we would like to ask you just a few questions, as we know that you're here for the ATB. So for the first question, how would you define cultural diplomacy, and how has it influenced your work?
Well, it's my work. As I said earlier, I'm a travel blogger, and my blog is not about finding the best beaches and where to spend the best time at which pool. It's mostly about travel stories, and my goal is with my blog and my stories to connect people, to get the people off the pool and get the people off the beach and to go explore what it means to be in that country. That might be from food to connecting with locals, to experience the heritage that they offer, to go on trips, have a little adventures. All this for me is part of my job. And my company is for a good reason called Ambassador. So we see, and many of the travel bloggers see ourselves as ambassadors for a mutual understanding, for being closer to each other, understanding cultural differences, and still appreciating and tolerating them. So for us, cultural diplomacy is exactly what we do and try to do.
That sounds great. And as you just said, according to that, would you consider cultural diplomacy as an ethical principle for every traveler to go?
It would be perfect. It would be perfect if everybody's thinking like this. Right now, we're talking about the mass of travelers who are not really interested in that. And I can understand that people are looking for relaxation, and they want to have a good time, and they want to sleep long and swim, and all that is fine, but it would be perfect if they combine this with a little tours and then just enlarge their normal travel plans and their normal travel habit, what they do. So it should be, of course, in all our needs, it should be to always look for maybe just a little part of being more connected to locals and more connected to cultures and be more tolerant. I think if we would be more tolerant, we wouldn't have any big problems in the world. We wouldn't have that many crises between countries. And travel can help in this. It can, or it would be a way to start for that. Because if you understand that everybody is the same, that everybody is mostly friendly, then you wouldn't have that prejudices or fear in facing a different culture.
Thank you.
And how do you think that traditional media and also new forms of media can play a bigger role in informing people?
Yes. Well, traditional media, I came from that. That was my first job, being a normal print journalist. And I think what has, at least in Germany, the print media crisis is really there. So when I look at the papers in Germany, the papers that you read on a Sunday, what used to be the travel section with 5, 4, 6, whatever pages really shrink down to one page of content plus all the advertisement. And I know how it is. I mean, the Times and New York Times, they're not allowing freelancers to go on any corporate or corporation trips anymore, which is on one hand a good thing. On the other hand, it means that they don't have the money anymore to send them on trips which are outstanding and unusual. So they all go on the safe side and all just give the people what they actually all want to have, and they're not going into the niches. So all these niche products in the travel industry that is well connected with understanding any traveler as an ambassador or someone who is on a diplomatic mission. Those stories are not covered anymore, and this is where the travel online content goes in, and that's the it's a chance of travel online content to exactly write about these things rather than where do you find the next best beach, right? So I think as long as the situation with the print media is still as it is today, and I think it's not really changing, the biggest chance of promoting another way of traveling, sustainable or a tolerant and open way of traveling, will be found on social media and online marketing or online tools.
I agree with that. Well, how do you think, you touched on this a little bit, but how do you think paper media could try to survive in a world that's becoming more and more technologically advanced?
That's a very good question. If I would know this question, I would probably be very rich, but I don't have it. I just see that. I mean, if you look at what even there are some print media, magazines or papers that are trying to do something differently. If you remember, like 1 year ago, the New York Times has suddenly came up with that special website about the South Chinese Sea. It was not about travel, but it was about all the influences in that region, political, cultural, and so on. It was a different approach. It was a different look, and they had a long text, which is very unusual for online and right now in these times to offer a long text. But it was they webbed in videos and interactive cards and maps and pictures, and it was a great experience, and it was so attractively done that even I, although I didn't have the time, I read it through. And it was awarded with the Pulitzer Prize, and this could be something that they could do. They could maybe work more in that way and make it a special, and then maybe dare to invest money and dare to have another subject which is not on the typical menu of a typical trip and travel. But again, it's I don't have the answers to what goes on with print. I'm more an online girl.
That's already a good approach.
Yeah.
Like if media would go deeper in it, then they could
Exactly.
sell it, because all the other
Yes.
things are already on the internet.
Exactly. You know, I want a newspaper that I read. I want them to be the authorities. I want them to be clear in opinions and clear in information and really well researched information. In the last years, they have really failed my needs totally. I read only one paper, still I read one paper at least, and the rest is all information that comes from online that I take.
Well, we know you're in a hurry.
Yes, I
and you
gotta
need
go.
to go. So, but thank you so much for your time.
You're
for speaking
welcome.
with us today.
Thank you for
It was a
being
pleasure
here.
having you.
Thanks. Thank you.
It was a
Thanks.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.